David Berger with UA Local 290 Plumbers and Steam Fitters. We have about 4,800 members, 7 training centers for apprenticeship and journeyman training. And right now I think we have a little over 700 apprentices.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just a couple.
Just a few. I'm 46, soon to be 47. I got into this trade when I was 18. 5 years went by like crazy. Now I'm in my 28th year of being in this local union and working, so it's awesome.
What does the 5 years look like? Is it all book work, or how does that work?
So the 5 years consists of on-the-job training. So you're working during the day and you're actually making money. As you go through the program every 6 months, as you get on-the-job training that you're paid for, and you get classroom training, which we do night classes right now. You get through those in 6 months, then you move up to the next level.
So during the time that you're in classroom at night, during the 6 months, How many hours or how many times do you have to go to the classroom per week?
Yeah, so it's basically like the normal school year.
Mm-hmm.
So you have summers off and winter break and spring break like that. And we go 2 nights a week, 3 hours a night. But then there's also some specialty classes we might have to do weekends, or we get rigging certifications, and so we'll actually rent a crane and bring it in, and so we'll do that on a Saturday and get everybody certified all one Saturday.
I feel like they never advertised that you could be like hanging off the side of the building and be like a construction worker, or like welding underneath water, like in a scuba, right?
Yep.
Like you just don't hear about that kind of stuff.
Right.
What are those other unique construction worker jobs that you don't hear about much that are kind of awesome?
So, top secret government facilities. There's some stuff out there that you wouldn't know about that you get to work on. Worked on nuclear power plants, which is highly regulated. Pharmaceuticals, and some of the pharmaceuticals could be like, what are they, like drugs that they're trying to develop that are like government funded because it's going to be this great new breakthrough for a cancer drug or something like that. And so there's a lot of regulation and who can get in and out of those facilities because they're trying to keep it as top secret as possible. There's a lot of cool stuff.
A little variety for you.
Little variety, yeah.
What is a journeyman?
So a journeyman is somebody that spent at least 5 years in the trade and has about 8,000 hours of on-the-job training under their belt and some sort of classroom or extracurricular training above that. So
what does the mentorship look like as part of that process?
Not only did they help me with my career, they helped me with life. I had one of my first journeymen. He was about a year or so from retirement, and he was probably one of the ones that taught me the most. Carrying 10 boards versus carrying 1 board doesn't make you a better person. Work smarter, not harder. I had showed up late a couple days, right? And the doors were locked. And he's standing on the other side. It's a glass door, and he goes, "Go home. You're late. Come back tomorrow." And I'm like, "I'm here." And he goes, "Go home. You're late. Come back tomorrow." So I came back tomorrow, and I was there about 6:30 for 7 o'clock start time. And he said, "Good." He goes, "I want to explain to you that this job site is like an airplane." He goes, "If you're not on the airplane at 7 when it's taken off, then you're not on the airplane. Don't bother coming." And that was a huge learning experience because I lost money because I didn't get to work that day.
Right.
And that was him teaching me a big lesson.
Yeah.
But I mean, the mentorship is there. You need help. We're kind of a really big family. It really is like that. You're working days, you're going to school at night, you're trying to raise a family and have kids, and the life things happen, and a lot of the journeymen will step up. Your car breaks down and they help you fix it or give you a few bucks to get the part you need and get you back on the road or whatever it might be, because they've been there. I know.
Let's talk about the reward that you get at the end of that rainbow, that 5-year rainbow, and as far as the money, you said every 6 months or so, you get a bump. So walk me through what it's like, what you start at today in Oregon, as an apprentice. What type of money will you receive and benefits, and then kind of walk me through that journey.
Yeah. So in the plumbing pipe fitting trades, which includes the service HVAC world, we start out at about $20 and change an hour, and that's on the check. That's the money you take home.
Without knowing how to do any of it yet.
With not knowing the difference between a hammer and a screwdriver.
Okay.
We will teach you, right?
Okay.
So you're starting out at a little over $20 an hour, and then that's, like I said, take home money, and then there's an additional $18 an hour on top of that are your benefits. So your full family paid health care, some training costs. We have a scholarship fund. We have an educational reimbursement fund that helps with the schooling costs. There's a lot of that, and that's all employer paid. So a first term apprentice, again, that doesn't know anything yet, is around $38 an hour.
But they take home 20, and the rest is in the benefit to them that they don't have to pay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And again, that's based off a journeyman's wage, and a journeyman currently is at about $50 and I think 38 cents an hour, going on memory, but somewhere right there. And then they have an additional 33 in benefits. So they're about $83, $84 in total package, which is the wages and benefits.
Wow.
And so an apprentice, again, is working toward that goal. So they start out at 40%, and then in the first 6 months, they jump up 10% of journeyman scale. So that's a $5 jump, basically. And then every 6 months after that is a 5% jump. So then it's, $2.50, $2.50, $2.50 every 6 months. Until you get to about 90% is the last term of your apprenticeship, and then there's a 10% jump when you turn out and pass all your tests and get your state licenses to be a journeyman.
So one thing that I found out from you that I didn't know is that you actually have a pension.
Yes.
I thought that was reserved for like government workers and teachers. So tell me more about this.
Yeah, so our pension is pretty cool. And there's different kinds of pensions. There's what we call a defined benefit pension, which is what we have, and it's probably one of the elite pensions there is. So once you've earned a specific amount, it's your money to keep forever. That's the amount you earned, and that's your monthly benefit upon retirement age. And then there's a defined contribution, which is similar to like a 401k. You put $1 an hour, $2 an hour. It goes into the market. You could put it in low risk or high risk. It could grow. It could sink. You could have $1 million in there. The day before you retire, the market drops, and you're left with half of that, right?
Right.
But again, our defined benefit is secure money. So the way we do it is every 1,000 hours that you work, in your benefits, which your employer pays for, you earn $150 towards your monthly benefit of your pension.
Okay.
So most people work 2,000 hours a year. So 150 twice is 300.
Okay.
So that's $300 in a year's worth of working that you've earned towards your pension. So now let's just fast forward that same number.
Okay.
10 years.
Yeah.
That's $3,000, right? 300 a year for 10 years. That's a monthly income amount. Now that number is locked.
You don't have to get you're vested immediately?
You vest in 5 years.
Wow.
It takes 5 years to vest.
Okay.
But once you vest it, it's yours. Ever since I got in the trade, I started it was like $52 per thousand, and it's just steadily gone up, right? And so I don't ever see it going lower. It's going to continue to go up. It's going to be higher than that in 10 years because that number's going to go up.
So what could it theoretically be? Like if someone's ready to retire and they've been in the trade for 20 years, what could they make for retirement?
So in my case, my birthday's in a month, and they send you all your statements right before your birthday every year.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And so I just got those and went through them. So what I have earned in 26 years of the pension. Like I said, I had 28 years, but the first 2 years didn't put into my pension.
Okay.
But 26 years in that pension, and I have about $5,100 in my local pension and a little over $1,000 in my national pension. So I'm sitting at about a little over $6,000 a month of income right now that I've earned, and that's a monthly benefit when I go to retire. But I'm going to work 10 more years or so I'm going to increase that even more.
Wow. So right now, if you decided you were done and you're going to hang up your PVC pipes,
Yep.
then you would get the neighborhood of, what did you say, 6,500?
Yes, a little over 6,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
a month.
A month for life.
For life.
Wow.
Yeah, and I can't collect until I'm at least 55.
Okay.
But if I stopped right now and quit getting pension dollars and went and cut grass or pumped gas when I was at 55, I could draw that.
Wow.
But again, I'm going to continue to grow that. So
what's your goal? What do you think that you'll have at the end when you're ready to retire?
I think I'll have probably close to $9,000 a month.
Wow.
Now they'll still have to pay some taxes out of that, but that'll be what's owed to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tell me about the health care, because I know that when people are getting ready to retire, sometimes the health care benefit, like just paying your health insurance, is like over $1,000, sometimes $1,400. So it keeps people from retiring.
Yes.
So you told me in another conversation that you guys have thought this through and there's a solution.
Yep. Our solution to that is we have a pre-funded retiree health plan. And it works basically on your years of service, how many years you've been in our union and working. And it's an average based thing, but basically if you work steady every 5 years, and it's a 5-year mark, you get about $200 towards the premium of your insurance when you go to retire. So there's a cap on that though. It's 30 years and a maximum of $1,200. But currently retiree insurance is $1,450 a month. So if I had 30 years in, which I'm pretty close to, and went to retire, I would have that $1,200 toward the $1,450. So I would pay out of pocket $250 for my full family medical health care, which if I still had dependents that were coverable, which we covered till age 26, and a spouse, they're covered under that plan for that amount.
Wow.
And our health coverage is extremely good.
So to people, the common perception with jobs in the trades is that it's a blue-collar job. How would you respond when you hear that? What is your response?
That the blue-collar job is more of a white-collar job with more hands-on. And the reason why I'd say that is there's so much aspect that is mental and planning that goes into a project than the actual physical working. Which is more management, right? My apprentices have iPads that they carry around to do everything they need to. They've got all their plans, they've got their specs on there, they have all their safety procedures. They can walk into a room that just had the cement floor poured and no walls yet and pull it up on their screen, and they can see in 3D and walk around and see what the walls are going to be and what pipes are supposed to be in those walls. A lot of it that comes into it that's so technical, and a lot of people don't realize that. My son's an apprentice, and he was on a crew on one of the buildings here in Bend, the 5-story, the Hickson. So what he did is he ran a 3D Trimble machine, and it was GPS locating. And what they did is each floor, before they poured the concrete, it's a metal deck that they pour concrete on. And he would go and he would use that GPS system and put marks all over, and then they drill holes and put their anchors in for actually what's downstairs before they poured the floor. So they were doing it instead of drilling into concrete above them. They're working smarter, not harder, using technology, and they put it in before the concrete's poured in the floor above them. So then when they come in, they have the anchor in the ceiling that's already there, GPSed out, and they know exactly where the pipe's supposed to go, and it follows that route. And he was in charge of that crew, and he did all 5 floors. It was like 18 months of doing that, and he loved it.
Well, speaking of the younger apprentices and the next generation of tradespeople, what can you say about this route versus a more office route, right? You have a lot of positions now are remote or from a computer, right?
Yep.
So what are the benefits of choosing, besides the healthcare, but see, someone young might not care as much about that. So what would you say to them if that's the market that you're talking to?
So what I would say is everybody's looking for a reward, right? Something rewarding, something that gives them the drive to get up every morning. And honestly, construction is it for me. And I think for a lot of people, we need bankers and, our cashiers at the grocery store and stuff like that. But when you get up on week 1 of your apprenticeship and you didn't know the difference between a hammer and a screwdriver, and we teach you that, and then you start using them, and then on week 2 you go and you see progress that you're doing, right? And then you become a journeyman, and you go, I remember when I was apprentice and I didn't know what I was doing, and now I'm running crews of 100 people with 40 apprentices, and I had a hand in building that building. I was here when it was just dirt, and now it's a 5-story building, and you can drive by it the next day or 2 years from now or 10 years from now and have that sense of pride and accomplishment. And I think that's something that a lot of people like. They can see it. It's tangible. Being outdoors, a lot of people don't like to be cooped up. And the change of scenery. And it could be, change of scenery could be even on one job site when you're doing the underground and it's all open, and then the building's shelled in, and now you're on the roof doing all the equipment on the roof. It's like, but you're in one location, but you had so many changes of scenery versus going to the same desk and the same office every day. Right? A variety. And then changing locations, because once a building's built, it's done. So you go to remodel it. So you move on to the next building, whether it's another new building or a remodel or whatever it might be. And all that variety change, meeting new people. There's people that I've met 20 years ago that I'm still friends with that I don't see every day, right? But we made that connection and that friendship, and other trades even, lots of other trades. It's not just the trade I'm in. I've made lots of good friends. I had a good electrician friend, or still do, and he introduced me to my wife. Nice. My first wife. My first wife.
Well, practice.
Yeah. We're still friends.
Okay.
And he actually saw that one of my family members had passed away. He noticed it in the paper and he called me, and I hadn't talked to him for like a couple years just because, we kind of drifted apart a little bit. And that's the friendship and stuff that you get in the trades. I don't see that a lot of other places.
Would you mind sharing the story of your son just to appeal to the younger people who think they don't need health insurance?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So my son is 18 and he's in an apprenticeship now. He's 23 or 4. But when he was 18, he crashed his 4-wheeler right after graduation. And our insurance covers children up to age 26. So he was still covered under my policy. And he had major internal injuries. He was life-flighted from Bend to Portland. And he was in the ICU for about 9 days, and the bills came to about $440,000. And because of our good health coverage, I paid $2,500 out of pocket. That's it.
Wow. Out
of the whole bill. So our insurance covered it all. And I think that's one of the things that actually kind of led him to get into our apprenticeship too. He never really thought about it. He always knew it was there, being around me. But then he's like, people do really well with this, and I like working with my hands, and it's got good benefits. Yeah, exactly, taking risks. Yeah.
What would you say to women who maybe are a little intimidated to enter the space because it is so male dominated? And I know that's changing, but as it stands now, there's still quite a few, more men in that space. What would you say to them?
Correct. Yeah, and currently we're bringing our demographics up. I think currently local 290s is about 7% women. The IBEW, or the electricians, they are probably one of the biggest unions that have the most women in them, and I think they're at like 13% women, which is awesome. And what I would say is get in. You can do it. The old adage of, you're going to be treated bad, it's changing. It's changed. That you shouldn't be worried about that. You go out there and do your job. You don't have to overprove yourself. You don't have to be better than someone else. Just go do it.
Are there safeguards or places to go if there was a bad experience?
Absolutely, yes. And we try to, we foster that through our apprenticeship. We foster it through our Journeyman and our Journeyman training. The building trades, including Local 290 and Local 290's apprenticeship, and lots of other of the unions and their apprenticeships, are involved with Safe from Hate. A lot of the contractors have signed on with training programs like Green Dot. And so basically that's a safe space or safe haven that if anybody has, a bad experience, they can go and, get help. And we try to give everybody the tools to be able to not put up with that, not stand for it. Let somebody know we won't condone it. We will help you through the process. That it's not acceptable anymore. And it does still happen, and it's unfortunate. But like I said, it's way far and few between.
Is there a consequence for that, Journeyman?
Absolutely, yeah. There's disciplinary actions that we in our local union will take, which could be removing them from the job site, removing them from our hiring hall, which means they can't get another job until, for example, we had an individual that this happened to, had 2 instances, and he was finally removed from our hiring hall for a full year and had to complete different trainings before he could get back on our hiring hall to get a new job. So he spent a year not working and not able to collect unemployment.
Wow.
And I think that's a huge impact.
Yeah,
and I think that says something for us in our organization. We don't put up with it.
Talk about pay equity with men and women.
So in a union, everybody is on the same playing field, right? So if you're a first-term apprentice or a journeyman, that pay is the same for a first-term apprentice as your female, male, lesbian, straight, whatever you might be, right? It doesn't matter. Same with a journeyman. So the pay equity is the same. Do a lot of recruiting, and I do, especially here in Central Oregon, around the ladies to let them know that they can do this, that they are a great part of the workforce, and they're awesome at it. We just completed our 2nd cohort of women in trades here in Central Oregon. And now we have a total of almost 20 ladies that have good apprenticeship jobs, working their way past, in the path of becoming journeyman. People are afraid of things they don't know. And when they hear negative things, they think that's what it is, right? I want to get out and get the word out that, the trades and the unions are awesome for anybody. Whatever you are or want to be, it doesn't matter. Just to be able to give that opportunity to somebody else. I had that opportunity and I thrive with it and I love it, and I want to make sure that others have that and not see those barriers. We want to tear those down. Don't discount the trades. It's just as good or better as any white collar job or somebody that goes to college. It's the old adage of, if you don't go to college, you're not worth anything. And pardon my French, but that's BS.
It is.
It's total BS. The people that work in the white collar industry, that have an office in the corner, that office was built by a construction worker.
That's right.
Right? So they wouldn't have that if we weren't there.
Yeah. Well, as a college graduate at 42, I'm trying to decide if I'm too old to switch to the trades.
You're not too old. You're not too old. Not at all. Our average age of an apprentice, first term in the state of Oregon, no matter what trade it is, it's just an average of all the different trades, is 28 years old. That means that that person that's just starting this trade has spent 10 years outside of high school trying to figure out life, right? And of those first term apprentices, average age of 28, 30% have either a 2 to 4 year degree and college debt. And typically they don't have a job from that degree, and so they're looking elsewhere to pay off their college debt. And they come to the trades, and then they find it.
So tell me what the debt of a journeyman has.
$0.
$0.
of debt. So our apprenticeship is, it does have cost to it. Some apprenticeships are free. Ours through Local 290 Plumbers and Fitters does cost. It's $100 per term of tuition, so that's every 6 months. So you're looking at $1,000 of tuition total in 5 years, and it's payable every 6 months. And then the cost of books, and we subsidize the books 50%. And our books typically won't run you any more than $200 to $300 per term. So we're looking at total cost of a 5-year apprenticeship. Again, you pay as you go every 6 months, of about $4,000. And so that's paid for and done. You don't owe a dime. You become a journeyman making $50 an hour with 0 debt.
And how much have they made in that 5 years?
Oh,
you know that number? And what's the math right there?
I'd have to do the math. Yeah, I don't even know, but it's a substantial number, and that number actually puts them a tradesperson in a better financial standpoint than most college grads, because they worked and earned money, and they potentially had the ability to buy a house or invest in themselves, right? Where most people going to college are just trying to make it, right? You make the rent and make food while they're going to college, right? Yeah, room and board while they're going to college, and don't actually earn extra income for life. I was extremely lucky. Again, I'll boast a little bit. When I was 18, I had the opportunity. I had a little bit of money saved from, being a teenager and working jobs too. But I bought my first house a month before I turned 19.
Wow.
And the trades helped me be able to do that. I wouldn't have been able to do that if, if I was going to college, right? I wouldn't have been able to afford that. So that put me above and beyond. I was a journeyman, had paid for my house for over 5 years when most of my friends were graduating college and owed $100,000.
Wow.
And were getting jobs at $10, $12 an hour.
Which is how you have this beautiful home with the park setting and this amazing.
Thank you. And the trades helped me do this. I built all of this.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I just still can't get over that.
We've done some other studies that show our earning potential and somebody with a 4-year degree's earning potential doesn't cross until about 50 or 52 years of age. So a construction worker will make more money until about 52 when that kind of goes up a little bit.
Wow. But the other side doesn't have a pension.
But the other side doesn't have a pension either.
Yeah,
that's just earning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Wow. Well, I'm so excited to share this out because, like I said, I'm finding this out at 42.
Yeah.
So I'd like to save, more people that are younger that are really trying to figure out that route, how they can stay outside, do something with their hands, feel empowered about what they're doing, and make money doing it. So. And
enjoy it.
Yeah.
I've never regretted or looked back and wished I would have done something different. The good times, the bad times, this has been probably one of the best careers I could have ever chosen.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks so much.
Nope.
Appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for that.